Aloha and welcome. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about print functions. So often we want a function that's going to print text, and that's it. So to do that, we can send in our values that we want to print, and we can have the function actually print it up really nice the way we want it. So these print functions, they don't usually have a return value. They're just printing. So remember from our last lesson that we talked about void functions, which this will be. So it's going to implicitly return the none value. So these type of functions that return the none value are called void functions. So that's something you're going to come across in other languages. Sometimes when you actually have to type out the type of a function, you'll have to say it's a void function. So just know what that is. Void function doesn't have a return value. In Python, it implicitly returns a none value. So what are the advantages of this? Well, one, as we talked about in the last lesson, we said that when you're taking your code and you've got it repeated in several places, instead of doing that, you can isolate your code into one section, and it's going to shorten your code base, but it's also going to help you in that you're reducing mistakes that you make if you're having to type that in over and over and over. And the other aspect of it is that if you want to make changes, you now only have to make that change in one place. You don't have to make that change in several places. So it's really convenient. So I want to show you an example of a function that I wrote up for this purpose. So we'll look at the VS Code here. So this is what I call my pretty print function. And what our pretty print function here is going to do is it's going to take a bunch of information. In this case, it's just an address. And we're going to say, okay, send in first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, just standard things. Then we're going to do a formatted print. We're going to print out the first name, the last name, and then we're going to do a new line character. Remember that \n is new line. Then we're going to do address, \n for new line, city, state, and zip all together. So we're going to print it out right there. I'm going to just send in some dummy information there. Going to hit print, and we see it nicely prints out John Johnson. Well, let's say that this is good for mailing labels or something, but what happens if they want to have like a list, just a one-liner list? Well, what we can do at that point is we can take out our \n and we can put in just spaces there, and we can run it this way, and it puts it all into one line. So if we had, let's say we were printing something out and we had several places where we do this, now we've just made it where we can change it in one location and it'll make that change throughout. But if we actually had this print statement in, let's say 10, 15 places, we would have had to go to each and every one, and we still run the chance of making a mistake and forgetting into one area and not another. So that's why we want to isolate it into these nice little pretty print functions, or the print functions. These print functions, again, void functions that return none. You're not going to be using it because really you just want this print functionality out of it. So this is a very simple lesson. It's nice to have these little print functions here and there. So if you have any questions about this, once again, feel free to send me an email, ask me, set up a Zoom session. I'll be happy to help you. But that's it. On to the next lesson.